We're down here in Binghamton, New York. Xcite Wrestling, its first ever outdoor show here with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, a special guest of honor.
You hear the action going on in the background.
Yeah, you do.
Boys are in the ring.
It's going wild right now out there. And,
Got
of
a
course,
good showing for today.
Yeah, it's been good.
Weather's holding up for us.
It is.
Yeah, I understand you guys have been having a lot of rain the last couple months or so.
We have been.
Yeah.
It's been busy with the weather. It's been busy with the rain. But certainly the guest of honor here today, WWE Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Ricky, tell us about being the special guest here and what it means to be a part of this show.
Well, I do this a lot. I still work for the WWE. I'm an ambassador type spokesperson, although they allow me to freelance and do appearances. So I do comic cons, the comic book conventions, and all the way to doing seminars and also doing appearances for independent wrestling groups. I like it very much because it keeps me in touch with the guys, and also it's a way of giving back to the fans when I do appearances, taking pictures and signing autographs. It's a great way to, be up close and personal with them and spend a few seconds to say hello and whatever. Yeah,
and I know it's the lines for you today. Pretty overwhelming. I mean, guys and kids of all ages for sure coming out getting your autograph. And I mean, what is that significance for you in terms of seeing the fans say, hey, they appreciate your work?
Well, at the last Hall of Fame, I was the one to induct Ravishing Rick Rude. What a great performer he was in the ring. But then it come to my mind and I realized, it was 30 years ago, WrestleMania 3, the Savage and I had our classic match. And I can't believe that 30 years have gone by. The reason why I bring that up is because everywhere I go, whether it be a fan that was 8 years old or one that was 40 or 50, that they bring up that match and how they can remember it. And today is still revered as such a classic match. Yeah,
it really is. And certainly, they say that match, WrestleMania 3, 93,173 people, Pontiac Silverdome, stole the show with Randy Savage, and it's sad that he's no longer with us.
I give credit where credit's due. Having the two biggest icons in the business at the time with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Their name was up there in the marquee, and of course they sold the bulk of the attendance there at the Silverdome, and also the pay-per-view buy rate, which was really off the hook. So Savage and I, knowing and hearing these big numbers coming in, we had an opportunity that we wanted to go out and steal the show, and we put together something that people still talk about today.
And, one of the things I wanted to mention today as well, and the late great American Dream Dusty Rhodes, when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, he mentioned that if anybody wants to learn professional wrestling, the textbook answer to that is matches with you versus the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Oh yeah, well Rick and I go way back. Go back to the late 70s. When we ran our course on and off up through the mid 90s, about 17 years. That was a guy that was 2 years ahead of me in the business, but went to bat for me in the Carolinas for Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling at the time, and pointed out that he'd like to do something with me, and then from that point on, it made me a main event guy, and the rest is history working with it. I do see him half a dozen times a year, to where we're doing stuff like this. Sometimes we do it together. Sometimes we're showing up at Comic Cons, happen to be on the same booking and signing autographs together, But Nature Boy Ric Flair, he's still doing it, and he's doing well.
Yes. He's one of the best. He came to an event in Syracuse, dropped the puck down for the hockey game a few years ago, and I know that for you, I can recall your Hall of Fame speech with WWE, and you held up the ring. And you said, "This is my Oscar."
Well, I was directing that to Mickey Rourke, because that year the movie The Wrestler came out, and he was up for nomination for Best Actor, right, for the role, and I was just showing him that I've already got my Oscar, and and in turn I hope you win yours, but as it stands right now, I've got mine. This, something like this to be in the Hall of Fame. Years ago when I first started in the business, I always wondered if I'd be a main event guy. Well, I'm climbed that ladder and reached that plateau, and then after that, I'm wondering if I was ever be a world champion. Well, climb that ladder and reach that plateau. So the third thing on the bucket list was, will I ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Well, that night in 2009, with Mickey Rourke sitting there at front row ringside there. I got inducted to the Hall of Fame and just pointed out to him, that this was my night, and I hope when they give the nod on best actor that he would get his.
Yeah, I felt like he was gypped out of that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job. I saw that movie, and it's so real life to where I saw a lot of our main event guys, had great careers, made a ton of money, but as things would happen, not end up very well towards the end of their twilight of their career, and that movie was so close to being reality.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that. Just a couple more quick questions today, Ricky. Of course, a great day, perfect weather for today with the Xcite Wrestling show here in Binghamton, New York. But I wanted to ask you this. Wrestling, the landscape has changed so much.
Right.
And to go from the Mid-Atlantic region, WCW, the Monday Night Wars, everything like that. And do you like where the landscape's going now? Certainly WWE's certainly been a company that's put its stamp on everything.
Everything in almost every live event has changed. I mean, you look at the way they do things in football, with the cameras that follow the players running down the field, and even the NBA baseball, a lot of it is more geared towards televised stuff, and hopefully, like today here at the stadium for baseball, that I was talking to the owner, they're expecting like 5,000 people out here, so it'll be a great showing. But the business has changed in the fact for wrestling that things are more geared for televised, whether it be the live events for TV or the pay-per-view events, and that's understandably where the big money is. We still do live events, but it has geared and changed that way to where everything is set up for more looking through television and pay-per-views. Yeah. Well, back in the day, there wasn't. We had our TV, but the audience would be in a small studio. There might be 30 people.
Right.
Right now, right now, what
difference?
Yeah, what a difference. 15,000, 20,000 now.
And certainly, too, the difference also, the mentoring is so different. Guys like yourself, the road agents, Finley, Arn Anderson, yourself, doing a fantastic job. It seems like, do you think the generation of wrestling has changed, not just for the better, but with your guys' knowledge?
Well, when I started in the business and getting in the ring, most nights I would look across the ring at a 15, 20-year veteran. And every night he would take me to school. Right now at our training grounds, we've got great instructors, but most times when these guys are looking across the ring, they're looking across the ring at somebody with the same knowledge, whether it be 3 months or a year or two of knowledge, So guys like myself and Arn Anderson, we're always trying to pass knowledge along. It's a very key factor to being able to keep the business going and passing the torch. And this year I celebrate 42 years of being in the wrestling business. So, in a way, for me, just like the old timers taught me, it's a way of me passing along like the way they pass along to me.
Right. And I understand your son is really involved in wrestling now.
Well, he was. He was at the school. He was doing well, and then he hurt his back. He herniated 4 discs.
Wow.
And so, that's the nature of the beast of the business. So, we do get hurt, and in this case, it ended his career before he even had a chance to get started.
Right. Good. Yeah. Obviously very tough, but as the music will die down here, I wanted to ask you one more thing. Is what's your best advice to performers out there to try to make it in the business, and not just the business, but also just in general in life?
Well, most guys that get into our business have pretty much a good athletic ability, so we can teach them all the things there is to do in the ring, the suplexes, the body slams, the hip tosses, and all that. But really what would separate them from the guy standing next to them is the character. We had the Undertakers, we had the Ricky Steamboats, the Macho Mans, the Ric Flairs, and the names go on, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Everybody could be identified by who they were and the character that they put out there. So my biggest advice to anybody, whether you're at this level or if you get good enough to go to the school, is to develop that character. What makes you different from the guys you're standing next to?
Right. And I'd be remiss, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, if I did not ask this last thing. Your favorite moment of all time in the wrestling ring?
Well, you know, for me, I've got 2 matches, and I've had over 6,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
I've had over 6,000. Macho Man Savage, WrestleMania 3, and then of course in '89 when I beat Flair for the World Championship. So those are my top 2.
Fantastic. Well, Ricky, we want to say thank you for talking with us, the audience here in Binghamton, New York, and beyond. And any final messages to Xcite Wrestling and here in the area?
Well, you know, I just appreciate what they're doing, and that is giving a lot of young talent here an opportunity to chase a dream and be able to do what hopefully that they can get it to the major league. If it isn't like groups like this, it would be very far-fetched to have any more new talent to be able to advance. So groups like this around the country, I encourage them to keep doing it. And you know, here at Xcite Wrestling, they're doing a great job. We got a great show here, and I love the way they partnered with you know, the baseball.
Yeah,
so the fans are pretty much double dipping. They're getting a good wrestling show, and then tonight they got a double header.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Baseball, wrestling, everything else in between. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, WWE Hall of Famer. Don't miss it tonight.